All right, so I'm here at the studio and we are going to lay down our flooring. I've got that ready for you here. Let's see, there's our Tarkett. Final flooring, ready to go. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure the floor is very clean. So here is our floor, our sprung floor ready to go, and we're going to put the Tarkett down on top of this. So I got a blower and we can also use a vacuum cleaner as well if you want, probably better. Up to you. I'm probably not going to worry about it because the double-sided tape sticks really well, but if you're a bit worried, then a good idea to use the vacuum. Here is our double-sided tape. So this tape is very, very, very sticky, and we'll see how that all works soon. And this here is the roll of welding line which comes with it, so that colour is a pretty good colour match for the flooring itself, and that's if you want to weld the seams and make it fully watertight. I'm not going to worry about it right now with this studio floor, but we've got it there if we want to use it. Here is our vinyl flooring. So it's a 5mm thick vinyl flooring. That's just the underside. This one is in a grey, we can do it in a black, we can do it in blue, green, pink, we can do all sorts of colours depending on the stock available, but basically it's 5mm thick. It's got that around about a 4mm foam sponge underneath, so that makes it a little bit softer on the floor, so it's going to be really great for contemporary and ballet and stuff like that. And then it's got the top surface, and then there's a very, very thin, you can see it there, that really thin grey layer is the scratch resistant surface. You can see those little, I think they're green or black little dots in there. Those are the fibres to stop it from stretching and keep it all nice and tight. Each of these rolls weighs about 100 kilos. They're really heavy. So they're 15 metres long and they are 1.8 metres wide, and definitely a 2-person lift. I'm going to try and see if we can get them made in 10 metres. When they're 10 metre ones, the 10 metre 4mm roll ones that I did, I could move them by myself, but these ones are just too awkward. You can roll them around, but to pick them up off the trailer and up off the pallet, really you need to be having 2 people for it. So because the roll is kind of wound back to front, the way we're going to unwind this is like this. So Tony, do you want to grab the other end? And we're going to do it like this. As much as we can get. I might fold this back and then like that, and now we can grab it in these corners here and keep pulling. Get this rolled out. Do it again. Get a bit more. I think that last bit we'll just have to unwind it kind of backwards by hand. So this is one good way of rolling it out. Yep. As we put a pole through there, and we can just do that. Easy. Done. All right, so we've got our floor out and roughly in position. The outer end of this one here had a bit of, it was a bit damaged, so I'm just cutting that off and I'm going to send that out as samples. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a rough cut. We're always going to have a bit of wastage with this stuff. So you can push it all up reasonably close to the edge, and then I'm going to do a rough cut on these corners just to get this excess away so it's easy to work with. and then I will can do the finishing cut, and we can start to stick it down properly. Alright, so we've got our rough cut done. That just gets some of the stuff out of the way. Now we're going to do our finishing cut to start to tidy this up. So our razor blade should be brand new. It'll make your life so much easier. I've got a little bit of a angle in the wall here, which makes it a bit annoying, but we'll work through it. So if I kind of do that, just get down into these corners. We can even do a higher cut again on this. So a little bit. So we'll probably actually pull the whole thing a bit closer again. Alright, now we're at least roughly there, and then I might go and get a straight edge and actually cut this parallel. But what we've done here up against the wall, we've pushed it all tight up against the wall for now. I will actually space it away about 5 mil so it's got room for expansion, so if it gets really hot in here, the corners don't push up against the wall when the floor expands and buckle up a bit. So we'll give it just a little bit of space, but I don't have to worry about that just yet. Let's just get one end cut in nice and tight, and then we'll get the other end cut in, and then we can stick it down. Alright, so we've now got this squared up, and then we're just going to pull the whole thing up. But I've basically got a straight edge, lined it up against the wall, and cut. You've got to be careful when you're cutting that sometimes the Stanley knife tends to come out and do that. So you've really got to keep your eye on it and make sure it's tight there against the whole way. And there is our finished edge here. This one here is all ready to go, and then we're going to finish the other side. So to finish up this piece on here, we can fold it over like this so that we have access to it, and then we just use straight edge, and we can tidy it up so it's a nice clean cut and get that last little bit off that we need. And that should see that pretty good. There we go, that's pretty good. And ideally, to make it all look finished, we'd put a little trim over all of that as well once it's all done, so it all looks nice and sharp. A little skirting board basically. So an important part of laying it is getting everything all really flat and getting rid of all those wrinkles. So the way the wrinkles happen is if I grab here and I pull, you'll see a wrinkle forming. That's what those wrinkles, how those wrinkles happen. So if you get a wrinkle, it means the whole thing's not dead straight. Because it has lots of fibers interweaved into the surface, it shouldn't ever stretch unless it's obviously stretched too hard. And because it shouldn't stretch, if there is a wrinkle, it generally means that it's not dead flat, it's not dead straight. So that line down there should be 100% straight, because those fibers keep it all together. If it was just rubber, it'd just stretch and it wouldn't work. You'd get these ripples in there. So if you have ripples, it's not flat, unless you've mishandled it and stretched it, and in that case it's probably a bit damaged, but I haven't had that problem before, so I think you'll be alright. So now we have it all with a good, a little bit more up there. What you've got to do to really look for the micro wrinkles is catch the light. It's hard as well, you get deceived by the shadows sometimes, but there we go, I've got a little bit of a wrinkle there. So we know that if it's wrinkling here, it means this side is too short, so we can probably actually push this center in a bit. There we go, and drop it down when I pushed it in from here. So we're checking the whole thing again, make sure we're nice and flat. You've really got to just use your light. You can't just look at it, it might look flat. you've got to carefully look over and look for it all. You might see little, you can see just, where is it? Right here. Right, little, there are sometimes little raised bits that you can see in the light. Maybe this one over here. There might be a bit of dirt. But basically what we're looking for is there could be a little bit of dust under there, and it'll leave a little bit of a splinter. So we're really looking very carefully to make sure everything's sitting nice and flat, using the light to make sure that's working, make sure that's, you can see it all properly. So this is all pretty good. So now we can tape this one down. Not everyone tapes it down, because when we tape it down, it may be difficult to remove, because the underside of these is quite foamy, and this foam, the double-sided tape, might stick onto it really well and it might tear this, but then again it might not. I'm not sure, because I haven't ripped mine up before. But I use the double tape. I think it's better if you don't use the double tape. The whole thing might move. A lot of people just put it down like this, and they put their duct tape or whatever over the top to hold seal the joins and to lock the whole thing in place. And that's why you see a lot of studios with wrinkles in the floors, because they haven't stuck it to the floor. So here are our rolls over here. I'm going to show you this next, because we're putting this down next. But this is our double-sided tape. This is going to hold the whole thing on the floor. So once you get it dead flat, no wrinkles whatsoever, clean underneath so you've got no bumps, cut and trimmed nicely to the end. Now we put on our double-sided tape all around the perimeter of it, and this is what stops it from ever moving. And if you do need to take your Tarkett up and take it elsewhere to another studio because you're moving, I'm not going to guarantee it'll be perfect if you use this stuff. It's really, really sticky. I've never actually found anything that sticky before. It's pretty much like a glue. Alright, so we're going to do this surface first, and the way we pull this up so we can put tape on it is like this. Grab it from the corner so it's very light, there's no kinks. You've got to be so careful not to get a kink in it. If you get a kink, it can damage the surface, and you're going to see that. But if we pull it like this, so it moves very easily, there's no kink anywhere. This is the way it wants to flow, so we can do this. And we can start to flip the whole thing over to give us access. Once it goes, it just goes. We're standing on the floor that's been laid now. Sometimes what happens is you get this. See that? That there is a very minor kink, which is not going to cause a problem, but we've got to make sure that doesn't get bad. So we want to get this held out nice and level. It's getting a bit tight up there because of the angle in the wall. So we'll fold that up. Alright, now it's sitting happy, comfortable, there's no kinks anywhere. You just watch it and make sure you don't let it rest on any kinks, because I just don't want that top surface getting damaged. It can do. Now we can put our double-sided tape down on to the outer surface, and we can roll this thing over and stick it down. So I've got the double-sided tape around the perimeter, and then we peel off the backing. And that goes all the way around. We don't need any in the middle, it's fine. Alright, it's so important when we are pulling this vinyl back that it doesn't move at all, because it's in dead perfect position. And when we roll it, yeah, I can't do this. Alright, so we're putting this back now. It should just Play. Okay, Tony. Okay, push it. Push it. Yeah, let it go. Let it go. It'll fall. Alright, so we're not going to stand on it just yet, but we're going to take a look around, make sure it's all sitting good. Looks pretty good, so now we can just go step on that and get the adhesive in. And we fold up this side. Now, we're not going to do this side yet because we need to put the next roll down and cut it all up to shape, because it's got to have the double-sided tape is going to go halfway over these two. So it sticks half on this side, half on that side. We're not going to use two runs. One piece does the whole lot. So we can't put this adhesive on yet. We've got to cut our next sheet on here first, and we can stick it all down. Alright, so this is the end of the roll. It's really important to remember this. The end of the roll does this. Actually not too bad of a problem in because this roll is the surface on the outside, because when that sits down it's not going to roll upwards. So this probably wouldn't be too much of a problem really, because when it sits down flat the weight of it's going to try and hold it down, but it might bubble a little bit. So what we're going to do is this runs about 12 meters I think, and it's a 15-meter roll. So I'm going to start, that end is the start of the roll, and I'm going to start that there, and I'm going to cut this section off. So this section will be waste, because this section is the end of the roll, because it's all been wound tightly in practice. You try to always use the start of the roll if it's good, and make the offcut the end of the roll. Alright, so we're going to put the middle tape down now. If you pull the second side up, you're going to not know where the center is. So I'm just going to get a pen and make some marks to just find the center line, so that when we run we'll fold this other side up, then run the tape down, and then I can see where the center is. So we've got the very first bit is down, and now this one's ready to go. When we push this down, when it first goes on, sweep it this way in case there's a bit of a bubble, because if you push back this way you might get a ripple in the whole thing. So we stick it this way, like this, sweep it like that, just to make sure that everything stays nice and flat. A little bit of a ripple here. Should come out. First one down, and then we'll roll this one down. Alright, so this one's down now. Now before we stick it down, we want to go through very carefully and check the joins and make sure the gap is appropriate. See how that bit there is nice and close. Some people lay them basically touching. I like to give them just a really slight little gap, something like about that, just in case it does want to move and breathe a bit. What we can do, if we stand on the side which is already down, we can tap with our foot to just get it where it needs to be. A little bit of a bubble here. Pretty good. So we're just laying down this section here. So we're laying down the first bit. So I'll show you the best way to do it. It's best to do it from the center. So Tony, if you take the camera just over into the corner there so you can see everything. So we do it from the corner. Careful not to get any creases, but we can basically do this. All by itself mostly. And then we don't, when we put it down there, we don't step here first, we go that way. So that there are no lumps. So we always upwards. So we got a bump here, and then we go back again. We stick it. Away. And we are done. So this took 3 hours, just under 3 hours, including cleaning up. And it's very good. So that's 4 rolls worth. It's about, I think it's about 90 square meters. So pretty done. It's a good space. So we'll have chairs back here. I've got to put a little edge on here so it's not a tripping hazard, but there's our finished floor. And you can't even see the joins. I don't really think they need to be welded, unless you know it's going to be really permanent, but that's fine. All looks really good. There's a few little wrinkles here and there, but nothing extreme, nothing that really stands out. And that's it. 3 hours, 2 people. Easy. Enjoy.